fine. I'm only
Go
asking
ahead.
whether you are fine.
I'm fine.
Manchester United.
I'm
what
fine.
happened yesterday?
Yesterday we lost by 4 goals to 0. 2
4
goals in
goals
each
to
half.
0.
Yes. Olise had a brace. Yes.
What did you play with?
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
Yes. The
Manchester
same Palace that
United.
beat you 3-0 in 2020-2021. I remember very vividly at the same venue, Selhurst Park. You see, I'll tell you something. We are in crisis. Everybody knows we are in crisis. Everybody knows. The whole season.
I like the fact that you are admitting that there's
hold on. You asked me if I'm fine. Let me pour, please. So, where we've been this season, no manager can survive it.
Sure.
Absolutely no manager.
This is not a first season.
It's second season.
Yes.
When Arteta came through,
signed
he did half season with Arsenal.
Yes.
His first full season, he played 38 matches.
Yes.
Won 23.
Yes.
Was it even 23? It was less.
Yeah,
I can
was
check.
less. It was
less than that.
less than
Lost
20.
13 matches.
Yes.
Same place as we are now.
Yes.
13 matches he lost, including a 3-0 loss to Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park with less injuries than we are.
Francis,
so I'm saying to you that
in Arteta's situation,
no, may I finish? May I finish?
Look,
may
if I don't make this
may I
forget.
finish? No, I won't forget.
No.
So please write it down. Point I'm making is that where we are now is evidence of many things. Many things. Injuries is a big part of it. We have a manager who has said that in spite of our injuries, he cannot go pragmatic because he fears that if all the players come back, he wouldn't know how to turn them back on, which I find problematic. Then you've got new owners and a restructuring of the club. That has an impact, like it or not. People are wondering, what happens to me tomorrow? Am I going to play today or tomorrow? Am I going to be fired to leave in the summer or not? So there's a lot of chaos. In the midst of the chaos, we're seeing what we're seeing on the pitch. But I'm fine. The summer will definitely come. It's only a couple of weeks now. From now till then, if there's more mauling, well, that's a consequence. If we find a way to get out of the storm, well, that's a consequence. But I say, and it's a very contentious point, what we've been through this season, right?
You know
what we have been through this season.
Okay.
Another manager was fired for less.
It's true.
Another manager
But United is
was
staying with
fired for less.
But
When
do
I
you
say
think
less, I
Eric
mean-
Ten Hag is the man for the United job?
I think that at the minute, if he loses the dressing room, that's it. If the players stop playing for him,
Which seems to be the situation now.
no, it's not true.
you sure?
I don't want to buy that because
I don't know if you watched yesterday's
I don't want to buy
game.
that because no. You see, yesterday's
did,
game.
yes.
Think about it. Johnny Evans was not passed fit to play the game, but he played. A Casemiro who does not play centre back, we are forcing him to play centre back. He doesn't know how to defend. He doesn't know how to sit back and read the game from
Modern
defense.
day DM.
Nah, he's not that. He's way past his prime on that. You see, he's not a
So
Chouameni.
that is where the
He's not-
experience of
What?
Casemiro has come
Please,
in.
there is no experience to be centre back. when
Casemiro
you're
is one
DM.
of the
when he's down the hill.
experienced players you can find in football. And
Okay.
football, at certain point in
Yeah.
time, you should be
Can
able
you
to
see
adopt.
Modric playing centre back?
Look at Modric.
Can you see Toni Kroos playing centre back?
No,
Thank you.
they are.
So
they
you
are,
cannot.
They are.
You
the
cannot put
example-
a square peg in a round hole. Simple.
I
It's only
watched-
happening because there's
I watched
nobody.
United, and I am not a United fan. You know that.
But you love to watch us.
I
know
love
that.
not that I love to. I
You
love
do.
to watch football. So
To
even
see
when
us in
United is
pain.
playing,
I saw you in
sometimes-
pain.
No, I need
It's
to
fine.
understand my opponent. So when I'm going to game, I'm able to look at the dynamics and the situation. And United as a club, I'm looking at what is United building. I followed Chelsea during the preseason, and I said to some Chelsea guys that look, Chelsea is one of the clubs that we are going to suffer to beat in the course of the season because they have young, energetic squad that runs at you. They do run at you at any point in time. They lose the body out, and after preseason they crumble. I look at United. Ten Hag first season good. They had issues
Pragmatic.
signing some players, and they are looking at seeing signs, seeing development. I tell you the example that you gave. He started the same way, was losing match, but at least you
He
were trying
changed-
to understand.
he changed the
He wanted to
whole
do something,
squad.
and he have to. The
He
whole
changed
squad.
the whole squad with less
Ateta's
injuries.
own is about culture.
Why now? Mine
Changing
is
the
what?
culture.
Now, mine is
Those
what?
days, look
Mine
at
is what?
Arsenal.
Mine is
Arsenal
what?
leading 3-0, and you just get one back. That's it. You are losing 4-3.
Is that not where we are
It's
now?
a culture.
Is that not where we
So
are
you
now?
fight. No,
No,
not there.
see, I like the point you've raised. Is that not where we are now?
The signs are not showing.
Really?
They are not.
You are being blind to
No,
it.
no,
It
no.
is
Yesterday
fine.
I watched United and I was like, oh no.
A United without the defense. How can you see? I saw Liverpool without Van Dijk, one player, last season without one defender, and the whole team crashed. I don't have 6 defenders. 6.
I like the
In
way
fact, 8.
Francis is defending Manchester United
Because
this
it's
morning.
my club.
That performance
will have defended
yesterday,
you. It was shambolic.
I was,
but it was expected.
It's, you know, we are playing Manchester
Yes, on
this
Sunday.
weekend on Sunday. It was one of the games that if
It's
I
also-
think,
it's
if
also-
I think,
It
or if I'm
is
dreaming,
also very possible.
Yeah, if I'm
it's also very
dreaming-
possible that my manager decided, look, I can afford to lose to Crystal Palace.
not,
but I
that's what- it's a
cannot
football
afford.
thing. It's a
But I
football
cannot
thing.
afford
I was-
to lose to an Arsenal.
Somebody said
at
that
home.
the way Manchester is playing, Arsenal will beat them 10-0. I said, hold on, don't go there. When it comes to Manchester Arsenal, and you're looking at the opportunity, Arsenal is going to stake a claim that they are going to win the league at United. It won't happen.
We'll not do a God of
Potentially.
honor for you.
So that performance, they are too baby.
Because
I don't want to go there.
this is not our team.
It
that
is a
plays on
different
regular.
day altogether. But I'm praying that you come and display that same performance on Sunday.
You wish so.
I wish. That is my wish.
So that you can breeze past us. We shall see. Anyway, good morning
Anyway,
once
better luck
again.
next time. Good morning, Francis.
See, there's no better in this life.
Better luck.
We are struggling. We are in chaos mode. I'm just hoping that things get sorted out. Anyway, so talk to me about what's to come today in
Absolutely.
the courts. And as I mentioned, this a segment that we're introducing on the morning Star,
Great. I'm
checking
happy
out
to
what's
be here.
happening on the legal and court side of
Absolutely.
things.
Kasua ritual murder.
Okay.
That case is on today.
Wow. Today's Judgment Day.
Absolutely. Today is Judgment Day.
Remind us what that case is about.
Okay, so in 2021, April 3rd, two things. The news broke that they killed a 10-year-old boy at Kasua, Ishmael Mensah Abdallah, supposedly for money ritual. One of them is 15 years, and the other is 18 years at the time. And they are using this age because at the time the offense was committed, that was their ages, or that were their ages. Now, the trial began in February 2022. They made their first appearance, in fact, in February 2022 before Justice Lydia Osemafo. Prosecution has gone on to call witnesses. And Francis, one of the cases that anytime I talk about, I am filled with emotions, is this very case. How do you feel when you have your mother, your father, and your sister come to court to testify against you? How would that feeling be like? Your mother, your father, and your sister mount witness box in court and say, yes, Francis, you did A, B, C, D, and I'm testifying that you did it.
Is
How
that
would
a
you feel?
truth? If it's a truth, it's a truth.
That was the situation in respect of this case. And there were tears all over. The parents were in court to testify against their son, the 15-year-old boy. I'm not mentioning the name because of the age. And you could see the emotions. This young boy cannot even raise the head and look at the faces of the parents. And it was all over. But then the 18-year-old young offender, as it were, denied the offense. The 15-year-old admitted that they did it together. Yeah. And because it is a jury trial, the court said, look, I am entering a not guilty plea for you. Let the jury decide. So for him, the 15-year-old, his position is that we did it. We killed Ishmael together. It is not the first time we did it. We have even killed a pregnant woman before. And so that is the story I want to tell the court. If the second accused person is the 18-year-old young offender is saying that he didn't do it, he leaves him to his conscience. Now the second accused person said, no, I never did it. You are not even my friend. So his story, yes, I don't know you. We never did anything together. So that has been his story. So he couldn't call witness, none of them. That was the first accused person. He said we did it. So there's no need to even calling anybody to come and testify on his behalf. But the other accused person said, look, I didn't do it. We never did anything. We never killed anybody together. In fact, we are not even friends. And then I want you to call my grandfather, but my grandfather, who is my witness, has passed on. So I'll close my case. So on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day, this whole case ended by way of evidence, parties giving testimony and evidence. The parties closed their case. So that the court asked them to file their written submission by 14th of March. The defense did, but the prosecution did, but the defense requested for time to do that by the 18th of March, which they have done. So today, the court will sit down, and then the jury will come Defense lawyers will have the opportunity to give the jury their final address, what they expect the jury to do for them.
Is it both sides or just only
Both
the
sides. And then the prosecution will also do same.
Yeah.
After, Justice Lydia Osemafo will sum up the trial from beginning to end, the laws that you are supposed to look, provisions, how you are supposed to conduct yourself. If you don't understand anything, and during the considerations, they come back and seek clarity. So the court will put them in that state. Then they will retire and come back with their verdict. And this case is at 1 p.m.
Okay.
And it's going to be a very long day. I anticipate that if you look
travel
at
into the
how,
night.
look at how summaries are done, summing ups are done, and addresses are done, unless of course the court puts timelines to the parties.
Well, for the jury, you can't.
And for the jury, you can't put a timeline.
Yeah.
So they will have to retire, go into, they have office that they use, go consider all the case, look at the charges, then look at the evidence, testimony of all the witnesses. And
there must be a unanimous decision.
They have to be a unanimous decision and all. And remember that the 15-year-old boy is facing up to 3 years because it's a juvenile.
Yes.
But the other accused person is 18, so he will have to decide that. So today we'll look at our eyes are on the jury, 7 of them, to deliver their verdict today in relation to this matter, which started sometime 2021, and then we are coming to an end 2024.
Okay. Looks like a busy day today.
Very busy. Very, very busy.
What's this business of the side chick?
That case, many thought the case is over. You know, this is one of the things that Deborah Adabla was looking for, or that there was a vehicle at the center of this whole controversy.
Yeah.
Against
Is
the
it a
sexual
Honda
allegation.
Civic?
Absolutely.
Okay. The white Honda
The white
Civic.
Honda Civic.
Okay.
And the last court sitting, something very interesting happened. She used to drive the vehicle to court until the court or Mr. Nimagu and his lawyers filed a motion that the vehicle be protected. And the court asked that the vehicle be surrounded.
So it's been parked.
It's been parked
Where?
in the court.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you go to the court, you see there.
There's a place that they park it there, so they are there. She had issues with them when the court bailiffs went there to, as it were, take custody of the car. And there was a whole lot of issues. There was an arrest and all that. So that one, a subject matter of contempt is even pending.
Eh?
They are not even.
Why? She didn't want to release the car.
She didn't want to release the
I
car.
see.
And trying to stop a court process is an offense. And so she was arrested. And then all the details that the lawyer said, no, we want the police to come to court to come and testify. So they filed a subpoena. And now an officer from the Ghana Police Service Regional was in court at the last court sitting. But there was a question that was posed to him and said, no, this question I cannot answer because it is the anti-terrorism unit of the Ghana Police Service that conducted that part of the investigation and they handed over the document. So that question I cannot answer.
What's the question?
The question was whether or not when they were arresting the lady, she, as it were, resisted. They also made allegation that she slapped some of the officers.
Hey.
Yes. So that's also another issue. So the question is, if you say she slapped, which of them did she? And where is the person to come in? So these are questions that the other investigator said, me, I don't know. I wasn't there. So they want those people to come. So today, we are expecting officers from the anti-terrorism unit of Ghana Police Service
To get
come
the testimony
court.
pass sorted.
Absolutely. to
Okay,
come
on
and
this
sort.
matter.
And then
But the main
after-
matter is not.
As for them, and then the court will make a determination as to who the vehicle goes to.
Okay.
So whether Mr. Nimaku will have to take his vehicle
Or Madam Adabla.
Madam Adabla will take. And at the last court sitting, now that is something very interesting happening is that now the car is being parked. The last time I saw her on the Okada.
On Okada.
Yes.
So I'm coming to
Okay,
court.
Coming to court.
It's-
I hope to check out today. Which
It's a means of transport.
it's a means of
Yeah.
transport.
What
Yes.
about the man at the center of this?
Come again, Francis.
What about the Mr. Nimako? Was he also in court?
Yes, Mr. Nimaka has always been coming to court.
And what's
Yes,
his means of
yes.
transport?
Normally he comes with his car.
Okay.
Yeah, he comes in his car.
It's a nice car. I'm sure.
Absolutely, of course. He's a man who has actually led a very good life for
Okay.
God knows when. He's a banker and all that. So he drives in his own car
I see.
and out of court.
All right. That's for the other matter
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
consider. There's also the issue to do with Dr. Atuforsen,
Yes.
the minority leader.
Yes. This whole issue about the ambulance procurement is still pending in court. Dr. Kasila Tuforsin, Dr. Sylvester Ademana, former chief director of the Ministry of Health, and then Richard Jakpa is a businessman, but as we speak,
That's his name,
Yes,
Jakpa.
Richie Jakpa. Yes, he's a businessman.
That name means a lot of things.
Big C. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
For example,
Jakpa leaving the country.
leaving the country. Oh, okay. Well, it's an Ewe name, eh?
I don't know.
No, it's a northern
It's a
name.
northern name.
It's a northern
Jakpa.
name. Yes, Jakpa. It's a northern name. Well, if I get the opportunity to ask, I'll find out what it means.
Okay.
So, he is expected. Mr. Sylvester Anamana, doctor, because of health concern, AG has filed a null prosequa, so he has been discharged. So he's no more part of the case.
Okay.
So now Dr. Kasila Tufosin and Richard Jakpa, and today we expect Mr. Jakpa to mount the witness board and continue with his evidence in chief. He has started that, but for some time now there were issues. He fired his lawyer, hired another one, and then the lawyer said, I want to go through the proceedings to know where we are and to be able to make. And one of the reasons he fired
so the evidence in chief has started.
Yes.
And then it was stopped. The client sacked his lawyer.
So he, at the time that he was supposed to open his defense, then he sacked his lawyer. You get it? So one of the reasons that he was telling the court was that in the course of trial hearings, they do something we call case management completion plan. So, Francis, when you come to court, you have 2 hours to tell your story. After that, prosecution will have 2 hours to cross-examine you. So they check all the timelines. So look at the witness statement. How many hours will you need to cross-examine or to do that? Then, so we know that when Francis comes to court, he will spend 4 hours during that. His lawyer said they will need 4 hours to tell his story, cross-examination. And he said, look, so that was the contention he had with the lawyer, and the lawyer didn't agree.
What?
So, they have to sack.
So Mr. Jakpa felt that he needed more time or less time
because prosecution cannot call witnesses at that number of magnitude. They call four of them, and then the kind of people who came to court to testify. 4 hours is not good for me. So one of the reasons that I have to sack my lawyer, and then
that your lawyer cannot see reason with you.
Absolutely,
I see.
Because he said he had a lot of documents to tender, and my understanding, what I'm gathering, is that he will be even calling witnesses close to 10. So close to 10, 4 hours
will not be
enough of this. So he'll be in court. He has started. So after firing the lawyer, the court said, look, you should have notified the court earlier or before the court sitting. You knew that you were going to fire. Then you have to come in with your new lawyer. Then you continue. But now that you have fired your lawyer, today's business must continue. So mount the witness box and start your evidence, which he did. And then today he's expected to continue. For the last few sittings, because of health grounds, he wasn't available. Notice at the point in time, the court issued a bench warrant for his arrest and all that because of the fact that he wasn't present in court, and the court felt that it was not properly communicated to. So that case is up in court today, and we expect Mr. Jakpa, the businessman, to mount the witness. Earlier, the court had fixed with the earlier initial plan, judgment would have been delivered May 3rd.
Okay.
Yet, but because of the changes, the court said that this very trial shouldn't go beyond May. So we are anticipating that by May 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest has
31.
They have 31. Okay, so by the 31st of May, right? This case should be over. That is if what Justice Ifeasewa Saribochi said
is anything to go by.
Absolutely.
The Afoko retrial, what's become of that?
Yes. For the third time, Afoko is facing trial. The first one started in 2016, truncated in 2019 because of the arrest of the second accused person, Asapki Alande. It started in 2019, and April last year, 2023, the trial ended, and you saw that a controversial verdict from the jury, 4-3 in favor of Akufo for conspiracy and murder. Then unanimously found Asapki Alande guilty for conspiracy. Who did he conspire with? We don't know. Then not guilty for murder, and the court has ordered retrial. So retrial is what is going on. However, Asapki was convicted and sentenced to death on the conspiracy charge that the jury found him guilty. But then he has to come to court. So maybe when you see him in court, he's not a ghost. You know, he was sentenced in the previous criminal punishment, sentencing to death. Now murder is life in prison because of the amendment that were made. So they are in court. The third prosecution witness is a crime officer who started the whole investigation in the North Bolgatanga Now he's in the Western North region. It's Ashrenkregwa. It's in the Western region. So he came to court, testified, and lawyers of Akufoko, who was not present at the court at the last court sitting, will have the opportunity to cross-examine him today. So that's what we expect in relation to the Afoko retrials.
Then Okujeto Ablakwa has this matter of impersonators.
Yes. So the Akusumo Down spillage, when the whole matter came, they did Okujeto Ablakwa as it were trying to solicit support from from well-meaning Ghanaians. So they drafted or they made a flyer to us to solicit for some support. Then these two gentlemen allegedly found wisdom in what they do, and then pick Okujeto's pictures, the flyer, and then instead of Okujeto's telephone number there, they swap. They put their telephone numbers there, so people were sending whatever contribution that they have. So, for instance, today I sent something small, then you go and check. Tala said he sent something, but there's nothing in my mobile. Then he came to bed that the two were trying to be smarter, so they took that opportunity, were defrauding people and all that. So they were arrested upon investigation and all that. Put before court 6 counts. They have pleaded not guilty. The court has granted them bail, and today they are back in court, and the court is expected to give further orders as to how the trial should go. Prosecution was ordered to file their necessary disclosure document and witness statement that they intend to rely on so that this case will progress. So these are some of the cases that we expect coming up in court today. It's quite a busy day in court, of course.
Okay. The other quick matter I wanted to clarify with you is on the LGBTQ plus bill and the matter that was sent to court by Richard Delaskai and Dr. Amanda Odoi.
Absolutely.
What's become of that?
So there were a lot of controversies. These two cases are the reason the president is saying that I am not receiving the bill, let alone to assent to it. Roxy Ndafiamakwa went to court with the Mandemos, and the court said, look, they are pending
Mandemos
cases.
is what?
Mandemos, so an application to compel a public officer to perform his or her duty. So the president is supposed to receive the bill and sign, compel him to receive it, and let him sign.
Of course, there's no.
Absolutely. So that is public duty function. He said, do this. And if he's not doing it, you have to compel him. So that's a mandemo. You go to court with a mandemo application. So in relation to that, now, people were wondering why the Supreme Court has not fixed the dates for that case to be heard. Now the date has come. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court will sit in relation of those two applications. And not those two applications alone, but there are other big cases that have been lined up for tomorrow. You notice the case also involving the celebrities banned from alcoholic advertisement. Tomorrow is Judgment Day. So tomorrow, the Supreme Court will sit here, Richard Delaskai's writ, Dr. Amanda Odoi's writ. They are separate cases, so their lawyers will have to appear and advance their argument. And if all things being equal, and knowing how the Supreme Court operates these days, the CJ has said that before we list the case for hearing, it is ripe. So it could be that the panel would have read all the processes. We just want the lawyers to highlight on a few of them. If you're able to convince them beyond reasonable that they need to revise certain things, they'll go back and do that. But if they think that whatever you have said doesn't really change the stance of the panel, then it's possible that tomorrow we'll get a decision immediately after the hearing. So
and that will have a consequence for what's happening in Parliament.
Absolutely.
Okay. And speaking of Parliament, Ibrahim, quick one. Yeah. Based on this ruling that's going to come possibly tomorrow, if the matters put forward are not tenable or plausible, what domino effects would it have on Parliament resumption?
Well, so the Speaker of Parliament and Parliament as an institution through its lawyer, Thaddeus Sori, had applied for expedited hearing of this case. I didn't hear Muntala talk about that as whether that played a part in the date that has been set for tomorrow. Yeah. I'm not too sure.
So yes. What I do know, really, like I said earlier, so the Supreme Court now, the TJ was explaining the last time how cases, because there are many times that parties will appear in court and realize that a certain process that was supposed to have been filed was not filed. It was just filed, it's not placed on the docket, so they have to adjourn. The CJ is saying that, look, all these things, they are time wasting. So let's ensure that all the processes that have been filed in relation to the case are intact. So when we list it for hearing, we come to court and we are in real business. We are doing business. So that is one of the reasons. But of course, the petition that was sent was also to put a certain level of pressure on the case to ensure that the parties in the case, we also do what is needful.
Yeah.
If I receive my copy and IB doesn't,
Yeah.
we will come to court and it have to be adjourned.
Yeah.
It is one of the reasons some of these cases we come to court and then they
It takes a
delay.
bit of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
No,
sometimes
okay.
you file and then you are supposed to file your statement of case. You
Yeah.
file the rate on each one. But the other attachments are not there.
Yeah.
It has to be adjourned.
No.
So the CJ is saying that we want to deal with all these things behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
once we list the case for hearing, it is
Then we
right.
know
So that's
that
why I said that
everything-
I won't be surprised tomorrow unless the parties say something that probably will change the minds of the panel.
Yeah.
If that is not done, I can be rest assured that, or we can be rest assured tomorrow. They
Just
hear
by way
the
of
case,
education for me.
and then
So
we
for
deliver.
Richard Aleskai's case, who's counsel for Richard Aleskai?
For now, we'll get to know much more in relation
the
to
case-
Tomorrow.
when
What
the
about
case is
Amanda
filed.
too?
That's
We'll
get to
basically-
know tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
Thaddeus Sorry will be in for the speaker
And then Parliament.
But absolutely,
Yeah.
the attorney general for the other interested parties in this case.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm sure he added the fact that Rosin Nesindafemeko has appealed the decision that was returned by the High Court.
Yes, the mandamus.
Yes.
The ruling
re-
on
re-
mandamus.
Rejecting, yes, of course. That's also another fight. The High Court's judgment, so to speak, was quite interesting. That the Femeko on his own had not asked the president to act, and the president said no. He had not asked the speaker to do A, and the speaker said no. So on that basis, even though it's evidently clear that the president doesn't intend acting on whatever I said to him,
So-
he as an individual, was that overriding aspect of that decision?
So this is how a mandamus application operates.
Yeah.
So there should be an existing order,
Yeah.
and that order should not be working. So, for instance, Francis, you get a letter from Bola and it says, Francis, you are going to UK tomorrow. And you say you don't want to go. Okay, or you are going to watch Manchester United last game and you say you don't want to go because they are not performing. Then he said go, compulsory, you have to go. And he said that you don't want to go. So you have to file a process to quash that I don't want to go. That becomes you file a certiorari application. And now when that is granted and say yes, the court is saying that Bola shouldn't go. Now if Bola is saying no, you have to go at all costs, then you file a mandamus to compel. Now it's force.
Yeah.
You're now forcing Bola that Francis should not go.
Yeah.
So that's how mandamus application. So the court is saying that look, before you come to court with a mandamus, then there should be a request, an earlier request made, and that request should have been turned down. So go to speaker and say, Speaker, transmit the bill to the president, and the speaker will say no, we are waiting for the Supreme Court to speak. Then you write to the president and say, look, speaker will transfer the bill, receive it, and the president will say, I won't receive it. So now you have communicated to all parties to perform their duties.
Based on
and they
which
are
you
not-
make the request for the
Absolutely.
mandamus.
And then once they are refusing, then you go to court and say that I have made a request for these people to do that, and they are not. So I want the court to compel them
To do it.
So that is how.
Once the
mandamus-
first two are not done,
Absolutely.
he cannot make that
Absolutely.
request.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
So that is
hence
one
the
of the
appeal.
legs
Yeah,
of
that-
the case. And the other one, of course, the court is saying that if the High Court is taking a decision for the Supreme Court, because one of the things that the applicants are challenging is the constitutionality of how
Yeah.
Parliament went about in passing this law. So they
Yeah.
are challenging provisions in the Constitution. And provisions in the Constitution can only be interpreted
Yeah.
by the Supreme Court because they have the original jurisdiction to interpret matters of the Constitution. So the High Court taking that early step will be like you are taking a decision for the Supreme
Yeah.
Court. So wait, let the Supreme Court decide. If the Supreme Court finish deciding on the whole matter, now you can come, and the High Court will hear you properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back to Parliament, and finally, so of course we all know that under Article 1123 of the Constitution, 15% of members of Parliament are allowed to append their signature to a motion or a memo to the Speaker, asking the Speaker to recall the House.
Yes.
That's exactly what has been done by the majority. So they have over 100 signatures, and this process was triggered last week, and it ought to be acted upon within 7 days. At least it's been 3 days, 3 working days. We are here to hear from the Speaker. I'm not aware as to whether memos have been sent to MPs informing them of any recall. But it's interesting that the case at the Supreme Court is scheduled for tomorrow. That will, in a way, if regardless of how it goes, will push Speaker to either act swiftly on this request that has emanated from the majority side, or because the counter argument for this request from the minority especially is that today we are starting voters registration exercise, limited. The biggest stakeholders in today's exercise will be the politicians and the political parties and the MPs. Anything at all that will take the attention from the groundwork from now till 27th of this month, when this exercise is expected to come to an end, is something that they will not pay attention to.
Which will mean that if there's a call for them to return, the majority MPs who are making this request for return will also not be available because they're interested parties.
They are interested parties as well, right? Okay. So, but then the counter argument from the majority leader, especially Alexander Kwame Afenyomarkin, is that sitting will not have to be physical this time around. Per the new standing orders, they can conduct virtual. The speaker can conduct virtual sitting. So wherever the speaker is not in the country as we speak, wherever he finds himself, with the help of technology, he can join the feed and then conduct sitting. They have just 3 items to deal with.
Or even the MPs joining virtually?
Yeah, they can.
So like a Zoom conference?
Yes. So now the numbers game is virtually dead. If what Alexander Kwame Afenyomarkin said is anything to go by, MPs will not have to be physically present in the chamber to partake in proceedings.
But they will have to be physically present even for the Zoom meeting.
In their, wherever they find themselves.
Wherever they are. Because if they are monitoring their registration, they have to be behind the thing, speaking to matters.
Yes, for that, yes. But that makes it easier. Wherever you find yourself, you can then go. So these issues, 3 of them. One is the consideration of the appointment committee's report, the 24 deputy ministers and ministers who have been vetted and the appointment is in abeyance. 1, 2, there was $150 million loan facility for the Greater Accra Resilient Project, more like additional funding. And then finally, they talk about 1D, 1F. 1D, 1F tax exemptions. They have been outstanding for months, if not years. The sector minister, K.T. Abban, has been at pains to ensure that these exemptions are granted because there are many companies who are waiting the granting of these exemptions for them to put in the investment. So these are the 3 things. And I'm sure they could be dispatched with in a day. Typical of Parliament, if it should desires, yes.
If they want to, they can.
Exactly.
All right, so that's a snapshot of what's happening, the correlation of issues in court and its domino effect on even Parliament. Thank you for the wrap this morning, gentlemen.
By the way, Parliament wrote, the clerk wrote to Adana Santibedi too.
When was that?
Letter, that was about a month ago. That letter has not been responded to as of yet.
Yes. It's one of the issues that even came up during the Dafiama Post Mandemos application. But they brought that letter to the court to show that this is one of the reasons why we are even asking for that Mandemos. But like I be saying, it has not been responded to, and the Supreme Court will have a say.
As to what happens.
We'll much more.
Hopefully they just dispense of this case tomorrow without any delay.
That would be your wish.
The speaker, no, that should be the wish of everybody in this country. The speaker, I know, doesn't intend doing anything until he has a clarity on this matter.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
And look at how urgent this whole matter is, and the fact that people have been asking when is it going to be heard and all that. I am certain in my mind that once it has been listed tomorrow, it might not go beyond tomorrow. Yes.
Let's see how that goes. Gentlemen, thanks for your time. Mutala Inusa, our legal affairs correspondent, Ibrahim Alasan, our parliamentary correspondent, joining this morning for what's going to happen and what's happening in our courts and in Parliament. Okay. The other matter we need to look at for our first check this morning has got to do with the exit or the preparation for the exit of Societe Generale from Ghana's banking sector. It signaled an inquest into the health of the banking sector in Ghana and what are the precipitants for why things look this bad. DDP in the rearview mirror, decisions taken about the banking sector cleanup. On this, we engaged Dr. Richmond Etiani. He's a seasoned banking consultant for some very interesting thoughts about why we are where we are today, how long we have been in this crisis, what the cleanup did in affecting or realigning the health of the banks, who this cleanup affected or benefited, and where we go from here. I want you to very closely listen to this analysis because it's at the heart of tomorrow for the banking sector.
Societe Generale is not the first multinational that has left the shores.